Hello? We made it. I'm feeling good. Diary 3. Had a lovely sleep last night. It rained on the corrugated iron roof of my neighbor. Just fantastic. Yeah. Actually, though, that's just beautiful. So, yesterday was a good day. We started off by fixing Fmod, so all the audio, the audio thing wasn't compiling. I couldn't really figure out why, but it turned out that there was just a global git ignore, just ignoring all DLL and lib files and like a bunch of other files as well. I don't know how that came to exist or why. That has definitely been causing problems. So it explains a few things. So, I got rid of that. I included all the files, which now means that all of I have like build scripts and stuff inside of the actual version of the game. I can show this off. So, I've got so I have Steam, so the SDK for Steam. This wasn't getting copied across. I wasn't really sure why. And so I kind of just ignored it. Just stupid. But now we also have, where is it? Fmod. And so this has got some DLLs and stuff inside of it as well. And this wasn't getting copied across. When I actually make a build, what I do is I have a build repo, commands, right click. And in here, I just use, I have a build script. That does a few different things. It actually pushes to Steam, or if I'm making a web build, it pushes to my to the website that I'm using to host it. Yeah. So that stuff is now actually getting copied across when that build repo pulls. So good. It's very good. And that I didn't actually end up testing the build because I kind of didn't want to wait 30 minutes for it to get done and to upload it. The first build that I uploaded, it turns out that I was including the please do not include with build file stuff, and so I got sent to Steam, and it was like 8 gigs, which hopefully I can get rid of that from the actual like commit history on Steam, like manually, because well I maybe Steam wouldn't include that in the whole history thing, but if it's like Git, then I'd want to get rid of that commit. The next thing that I did was I fixed the UX problems for items. So let me just okay, well, we can go in. This is gonna show a sneak peek for another thing that I did. I implemented another ring attack. This one was not very important. So you can see it here. So every 5 seconds, boom, we put down this. This is an attack, and when it disappears, it'll like damage enemies. Oh goodness, with the overlaying audio. That's probably a fine volume, whatever. So now if I press F, it actually opens this, which is nice. And yeah, I can equip things. So that's pretty cool. And if I spawn in some enemies, we can see that hopefully... Oh, why did it not damage them? I've done something wrong. Anyway, I do actually want to show off this. So I was trying to think of like how to do a big collider on the ground and how to make this thing look nice. So I implemented this. So I added this band projectile, and I had a shader. And I was like screwing around with it, and I was like, oh well, we probably want to make it like transparent or something like that, you know, like so that you can kind of see through it a little bit. But let's try to full, you know, 1, see what it's like. But then I went over 1, and I don't know if this is gonna like misbehave on different platforms, but this looks pretty cool. So I'm a big fan of this, and I can actually scale it up as well, and you can kind of see That's a pretty cool effect, and it's got the other benefits that this weird shader that I'm using has, where it kind of changes color uh based on the normal. So as this thing spins around the planet, it'll be tinted slightly differently. You can also see inside, which is a little funky. And yeah, I'm a big fan of this effect. Yeah, yeah. It's very neat. It's very cool. But it also probably costs a shitload performance. Not optimal. I did say I was going to be trying to add in multiple ring attacks. I only got one done, which is kind of embarrassing. But I think the code for it was kind of neat. If we have a look at that, you can see. So the way that this band works, right, is, well, it's always going to be a disc cutting through the torus. So if we actually look from above, right, like this, well, it's actually two parallel lines going from 0. So when I need to do the actual collision detection of this thing, what I can do... Oh, and this will be why. It's because detonation time is 5. That's 3, and... I'll have to think about this. But anyway, we just have to do a check that an enemy is between two parallel lines, which is very performant. Because I was worried otherwise that I'd need to spawn in like a bunch of hitboxes and use my collision tree. It would have been a pain. But this I still have to look at every single enemy, like every single network ID, and then check every single transform, which is not optimal, but it's fine. So yeah, and you can see how this thing works here. We attach all of this stuff to the hit buffer, and then we say that the projectile did hit something. We say it hit something no matter what. This is effectively like letting it die. This is like an on destroy flag. For more details on that, I'm gonna paint. Let's draw this up. So the systems that execute in my game, right? The first one that we have up here, this is going to be the destroy system, and then we have a bunch of other stuff, and then maybe we're going to have like projectiles and stuff down here, and some more stuff. But right at the end, the bottom half of the destroy system group, right here, we have the timeout. We have the timeout thing. And so what this is doing is anything. So when we get over here, anything that has the destroy flag set gets destroyed. And then after all of that destroying is done, then we actually can say like, oh, this thing is timed out. Let's set the destroy flag true, which means that if we want to detect if something died because of timeout, we can just check against the destroy flag during this frame, or even just check against the timeout during this frame, and it's going to be greater than the time. So that's really convenient for us. So I could be doing that here if I wanted to, where I just check this band against that. But right now I'm just using time created minus time less than detonation time. So I just check if it's like been alive for 3 seconds. That's it. Yeah. Now, yeah. So that was most of what we did yesterday, which, to be honest, isn't too much. What else did I do? I think I did some other stuff. I fixed some things, I'm pretty sure. Maybe I didn't. Whatever. So that's nice. I wanted to put in some more projectiles today and implement some more of these. It's very fun. It's nice to actually be getting to gameplay. This is gonna be crazy, but I haven't done, like, I have not been making game for like 6 months. I've just been engine working. I'm more of an engine dev than an actual game dev. But that's probably just because I've only ever had the chances to like work with mostly back-end stuff. Now I'm actually making game. And it feels fantastic. And well, like what I have so far actually feels quite nice. If this projectile actually hit enemies when it despawned, which it doesn't, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But Yeah. I don't know why it's not hitting enemies. It should be... It should be... Pop them. It was working yesterday, I swear, I promise. I've only made one change this morning. Okay. So, I was talking a bit yesterday about the timer concept, and how I wanted the game to have more of a time limit. Um, and when a buddy of mine saw this this attack, he was like, "Oh, what if bosses, they like sliced the Taurus, and like you had to jump over it or something like that, right? So these like zones that you couldn't stand on." Um, and I was like, "Oh, okay, wait, hold up a second. What if I kind of like fade out bits of the Taurus, like cut out sections of the Taurus, right, and use that kind of as the Fortnite ring, right, like closing in on where the actual where you have to be. So that's what the timer is. What if I had like multiple of these things and like I'm just like cutting out rings? I don't know if that's a good idea. I was fiddling around with this concept a little bit, and maybe it'd work. I don't. It's very hard to say right now, but I still want to give it a go anyway. So this idea that like this whole chunk here kind of just like becomes transparent. I think that would be like like really cool aesthetically. So we just have like a big chunk of this just suddenly just not being there, right? And it's kind of expanding, right? Um, Obviously I have to think about like, okay, is this just a wall? Like, and it wouldn't be that hard to make it just a wall. I just put like a sphere and just have a sphere collider just expanding outwards, and it's just automatically going to push players out of it and enemies out of it. So that's easy. Um, yeah, I really like this idea. Just aesthetically. Um, and like on this kind of rim, I could have my rim lighting, so it might be hard to see, but I have a little bit of rim lighting, so you can see I've got some rim lighting there, and I could use the same rim lighting to like highlight the edge of this, right? But like a bit more solidly. This other rim lighting is, I mean, it's present on pretty much everything in the game, but um, aesthetic choices. Some of you may question my aesthetic choices. Uh, Hopefully it starts looking a little better soon. I'm not exactly. I mean, I don't like that this looks like patchwork, but when it's actually in the game with the those like the border terrain, um, I think it looks a lot nicer. Like it actually doesn't look that bad. So yeah, let's have a look at this scene. Yeah, I think it looks quite nice with this stuff kind of containing it. And this idea that there could just be like an expanding chunk of nothing. Another idea was actually making these entire zones being able to get destroyed. So like the whole like this whole section could get vanished, which would be a little difficult for me to implement, considering I'm using kind of like meta balls. Oh, maybe. I'd have to make the whole thing disappear, like all at once. I don't... Maybe. No, I could probably... Because I could spawn in, like, a negative meta ball. No, that wouldn't... I have to think about this. So... Yeah. But, unfortunately, I have a lot of actual other random things to do, so I'm not going to be making any progress today. But we'll still write down some ideas. So what do we got? We've got dead zones. So empty space. So I just want to be able to test that. So just make like probably just use. I think this is in the opaque layer. I think this is an opaque shader. Obviously that doesn't matter. But I should just be able to like clip it. I just need to figure out a way to do it nicely. I have so much branching in the shader, which is bad because it's like effectively like a full screen effect because the terrain is everywhere and it's pixel perfect, right? So it's like this isn't a texture, this is generated. Yeah. Whatever. We'll get to that. What else? What else? So, more attacks. Sure, that's good enough. We want more enemies. And actual testing. I think that'd be nice. I want to get rid of all of these events, like these event icons on the globe. Remove event icons. I have some of these event icons, the actual events themselves. So I don't think I have any. Oh, there's a boss there. Yeah, so this boss is actually visible on the minimap. So if I have a look at, I think you can see it. Yeah, there's his little head peeking out. So I think more events just like that. These big icons on the map, they were placeholder, and I gotta get rid of them. But unfortunately, there's a lot of them. There's what is like 45 events, 48, a shitload. So that's a lot of work. So I'll need to think of like what actually to put into each of those events. So ideas for events is we want like shops, we want just random buffs. I think mobility options. I'd like to be able to like transport places. Yeah. I also had this idea for bosses that could only be reached from, like, you had to take like a pipe to them from the opposite side. So like a little arenas. Arena bosses. Yeah. So this kind of idea. I thought that would be cool. I do need to think about if we're gonna have respawning at all. I don't think I want respawning. But, so I want reviving, so you can revive teammates. But I don't think I want respawning. And I think if you were playing single player, I'd probably give you like 2 chances. Like, because, you know, otherwise it would be, or maybe it should be harder than multiplayer. Whatever. I mean, you don't revive in Risk of Rain, you don't revive in most of those. It's roguelike. Not gonna think about that. Not gonna think about that. That's probably enough. I swear I had so much more to talk about. Oh well. Oh yeah, fix disc attack. Now that it's broken. I mean, I'm just gonna revert this one commit that I had. And it's probably just gonna suddenly start working again. We're gonna do this. We're fixing this. You can't stop me. I probably shouldn't be using one giant, like, thin, wide cylinder mesh for this ground effect. And I should do something else, something smarter. But that's a lot of work. And I'm hoping I can get away with this. I mean, if you wanted to fight inside the Taurus, then I'd definitely have to do something differently. Okay, so the change that I made was actually reducing the cooldown, or increasing the cooldown, but maybe this will just work. No. What? I'm sorry, everyone. I'm boggled. I'm completely boggled. This is cooked. Okay. Alright. Not gonna think about it. Not gonna think about it. That's that's it. That's it. Nice. Keep it short. Alright. Bye bye.